is presented by Captain Morgan. Please drink responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's our last show of the year, Tony. What's going to be your favorite memory from 2017?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, co-hosting this show with Pablo.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Who or what is a Pablo?
Yeah, so I really shouldn't have said that because I've given it thought in the last 10 seconds, and it's with Isola.
Oh. Except, did you ever do the show with Isola?
I think I've done the show with Isola.
Because I do the show all the time with
Almost
Isola.
all the time.
What is Pablo?
Pablo Torre?
Is it a stuffed toy?
Well, he's young enough to be a stuffed toy.
Okay.
No, he's not a stuffed toy.
Oh.
He went to Harvard.
Did he go to Harvard?
Harvard.
That's your account.
Welcome to our last PTI of 2017, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Lakers beat the Rockets, Dabo Swinney throws shade, and could Kirk Cousins be the next quarterback of the Broncos? But we begin today with the NFL finding the Seattle Seahawks $100,000 for that incident in Week 10 against the Arizona Cardinals when Russell Wilson went in and out of the concussion tent faster than Usain Bolt. Wilbon, what effect will this fine have on the rest of the league?
It's incentive. $100,000? Is that all? To violate the concussion protocol? That's an attaboy. I was at that game. And I just remember
that was a Thursday
Russell went a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Russell goes off the field, and I think he had to miss one play. But he was back on the field so quickly, I didn't see him go through the tent. He was faster than Usain Bolt. But Tony, so it's disincentive, right? And they're going to have to change it, and they're going to have to make it. They'll make it $500,000 on the way to $1 million.
It's a joke. It's a joke because if I had a team that I thought was a playoff caliber team and I could get my quarterback back out there like that, I would take $100,000 is the cost of making hot dogs in the friends and family room at most stadiums. And this is what bothers me.
What?
This is NHL justice. Russell Wilson didn't have a concussion. So you don't have to fine a whole lot of money because he walked away and he was fine. If he'd had
one, do you think
would it be $100,000?
No, they couldn't because it's jointly agreed to by the league and the NFL.
Here's where I think we're going to agree. If you do this again, it is going to go to $500,000 and $1 million and $1.5 million and stuff like that. Because this is ridiculously low.
Well, I mean, this
is not about player safety, then, Mike. The concussion protocol tent is player safety.
I think we both also agree. Player safety is about the optics first of player safety, right?
It's not enough. This is not. It's just not. It's no fine at all. It isn't. It's no fine.
Kornheiser tip money. That's what that is.
Pretty much.
Vikings coach Mike Zimmer has a slightly different take on head injuries that result from throws to the middle of the field. As a defensive coach for most of his 40 years in football, Zimmer says a great many passes into traffic should not be thrown. He added, quote, "I think they could take a bunch of these plays out if the quarterbacks wouldn't throw the ball into places they shouldn't throw the ball." Close quote. Tony, is Zimmer right? Our offense is being careless or reckless to have receivers run those routes.
It's really not my tip money. It's basically Wilbon's shoe money over the course of a year. Are they careless? Are they reckless? Are they paying attention to the new rules? And are they trying to take advantage of the new rules? I understand Mike Zimmer's point of view. He's from that side of the ball. And he knows that the rules now are not good for defensive backs. Because now if there's a head-to-head hit, you're going to get
defenseless receiver.
You're going to get 15 yards. You can be thrown out of the game. You can be suspended. So do offenses, does that invite them to send people over the middle and try and get the best thing, the catch and the penalty? Yes, it does. That brings us back to player safety because it's a disregard. It's a disregard of player safety.
Disregarding it?
Well, I think that Mike Zimmer is suggesting that the offenses are.
What do you mean they are? It's like when you lower your head as an offensive player, you know you make the defensive player vulnerable for the penalty, not you, because you're not going to be penalized.
So it's the offensive side.
You know Mike Zimmer, who yes is a defensive ace. You know he was a quarterback in his young days.
I did not know that.
So Mike Zimmer was. But Tony, I remember the great Jerry Rice talking to me about how dangerous it was back when the 49ers were one of the few teams. Steve Young and Jerry Rice, I'm Joe before that. And Jerry talked about the danger of running the pattern. And he talked about wanting to have the ball thrown here by Joe or Steve to allow him to defend himself.
Right.
And people just wouldn't run it. It was too dangerous. And now everybody can run it because they know you can't hit them.
Well, this is the point.
So what do you do about it?
So it's chess at the moment. If I change the rule that penalizes the defensive player more than it did in the past when they were able to just lay people out, Then if I'm an offensive guy, I'm going to start sending people over the middle. I don't want him to get hurt, but if I can throw the ball there and I get the 15 yards, I'm happy.
You're not as accurate as Joe or Steve.
Some guys
and
are.
you're throwing it, as Jerry Rice would say, don't throw it here because I'm going to get my head knocked off.
The difference between you and I is that you would say eliminate the helmet-to-helmet penalty, and I would say make it safer all the way around. The Washington Redskins play the Denver Broncos on Sunday in an also-ran game. The matchup of these losing teams led the Denver Post to speculate whether Denver's salvation at quarterback could be Kirk Cousins. Denver will certainly get an eyeful of him on Sunday. Wilbon, do you believe adding Kirk Cousins would solve John Elway's quarterback problem?
What do the Broncos do, Tony? And Coach Vance Joseph said, quote, he's a special guy when talking about this matchup. He's talking about Kirk Cousins. Since it starts with him, I'm loath to read you numbers, but I'm going to give you a couple.
You hate numbers.
Since 2015, so 3 years as a starter, his 68% completion percentage trails only Drew Brees and Sam Bradford.
Don't give me analytics.
Wait.
Don't give me analytics.
Wait. Tony, how about this one? His yards per attempt, third in that time, 3 years, almost 3 years, behind only Matt Ryan and Tom Brady. His quarterback rating behind only Brady, Brees, and Ryan.
He's one of the 12 best quarterbacks
Well, so
in the
if
league.
that's the case, if you believe any of those numbers, and I know you believe all the numbers all the time.
I do.
Then Denver, get him.
I'm going to give you other teams. I'm going to give you Denver. I'm going to give you Jacksonville. I'm going to give you Arizona. I'm going to give you Houston. I'm going to tell you that all of those teams are either in the playoffs this year or have recently been in the playoffs.
Okay.
The problem is you don't know what the Washington Redskins are going to do. They can franchise them for a record third. It's going to cost them $34 million. They can do this for a record third time. And this is the Washington Redskins. The question facing the Washington Redskins, and yes, he would help Denver because they don't have a quarterback at the moment, even your boy. They don't have one. The Washington Redskins have to decide, is the coach that they have now the coach that they want going forward to build a new quarterback? Because Kirk Cousins is going to leave.
That would suggest
first chance, leave.
That would suggest order and some sort of decision-making that was responsible and reflective and led to winning.
Denver has a Super Bowl quality defense.
Well, it doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback.
That's why they want Kirk Cousins.
League, this is the quarterback league.
Yeah, that's why they want Kirk Cousins.
If you're Cousins, where would you want to play next year? Of the places you could play and be a contender right away, where would you play?
Somewhere other than here, if I could. I'm sure he wanted to go to either the Rams or the 49ers, and those options appear closed right now.
Taken, yeah. Rare occurrence last night, Tony, an NBA upset in Houston. The Rockets seemed to be a lock.
I thought you called this.
Well, for their 15th straight win, but lost to the Lakers. Kyle Kuzma, who you haven't even heard of yet.
Really? You mean Kuz Control? You think I don't know him?
He scored.
You don't think I know he went to Utah?
38
last night. I know he was born in Flint,
Michigan.
Michigan.
In your ear to lead the Lakers to victory. The Rockets have to care more, Tony, about Chris Paul injuring his adductor. Not his abductor, his adductor, which you can tell us all about, Dr. Kornheiser. Anyway, you want to make a pronouncement on either team based on last night?
I mean, you didn't learn anything about Houston that you didn't already know. Chris Paul's a good player, and if he's out of the game, it hurts them. You can't have your best player score 51 points and lose. I mean, it's okay.
You can.
Here's what I learned about the Lakers because of Kuzma, who I have followed, because I know a little bit about how much they wanted him. Kuzma and Lonzo Ball, who's going to be real good.
Yes.
And then they've got Ingram, right, and they've got Randall still. So next year, when LeBron James and Paul George go to Los Angeles Lakers, then right then and there, they are a title contending team, and it's them and the Warriors. And that's what I learned. And tell me I'm wrong.
I got to say to you, I watched the Rockets for a different reason. They're now. And you wonder whether they can challenge Golden State and whether if they got into it with Boston. But that's fair to wonder. Fair. They got a damn good team. Yes, they coach. They have stars. They have all the requisite stuff. And then I watched the Lakers. All I care about right now is which one of these guys would look great with LeBron. And that's just completely unfair. But Kuzma can shoot it. He's poised. He's got size. What a pick at number 27 in the first round.
Thank you for saying that, because 27 is a way down on the chart.
Yeah.
And I figured it was a joke. 3 of the last 4 years, I figured guys would be out of the league. And one guy I've never heard of, Pascal Siakam.
Okay.
But Larry Nance Jr. is in the league and playing on the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think, is a good player and a scorer. And Rudy Gobert was 27. So it's not a joke.
Wasn't Jimmy Butler 27?
That I don't know. That's his your count.
27, 28, something like that.
We move now to what might be the beginning of bad blood between Dabo Swinney and your boy Urban Meyer, two of the preeminent college football coaches. Swinney snagged a 5-star offensive lineman recruit yesterday out from under Urban's nose in Ohio. The recruit said he chose Clemson because the 48-year-old Sweeney told him that the 53-year-old Meyer, difference of 5 years, already in the back end of his career. Wilbon, are you okay with Dabo Sweeney's negative recruiting tactics?
By the way, I'm told from the magic box into my ear that Jimmy Butler was 30th.
Okay.
You know, Tony, if that's the worst thing that's said in recruiting, you could simply ask the coach if you want to, well, how much older or younger are you than the guy you just slammed? And you could do that, but the parents won't do that. If that's the worst thing that's said, and it's not, I can't get riled up over that.
It's completely fair to negatively recruit.
Of course.
It's completely fair.
And everybody does it.
And by the way,
I'm sure Urban Meyer said about somebody's campus, you want to go to that little frog pond?
Right.
I'm sure he's
and
done
so
that.
you tell me why the kid wouldn't pick Clemson over Ohio State, because Sweeney owns Urban Meyer. He beat him in a bowl game 4 years ago. In the national championship semifinals last year, he beat him 31-0.
Yeah.
So that's why you do that. And the reason this is really bad for Urban Meyer is because here are the three schools you can't lose a kid to. Michigan is one, obviously. Right. And then Alabama and Clemson, because you're a contender for the national championship, as are they. That's a bad loss for him.
Yeah.
He should have babysat that kid better.
He's probably got another kid who's better. It's football.
Well, it's a 5-star.
Who the hell knows?
Well,
5-star. So what?
Better than 3.
These guys you know what? All these kids are pumped up, and people say they're 5-star the moment the recruiting service finds out they're being recruited. It's like in basketball. The kid was 3 stars until Mike Krzyzewski came to his house. He became 5 stars. Don't believe this.
You want to recruit against Urban Meyer? You point to Utah, you point to Florida and Ohio State, and you say, how long is he going to stay there, kid? Let's take a break. When we come back, am I right? Of course I am. The Patriots' banning of Tom Brady's guru is a big deal. We're going to ask Steve Young.
We'll also ask him whether it's already time for the Niners to shower Jimmy Garoppolo in long-term guaranteed money.
Are you changing on him on Garoppolo? Because I think he's good.
He's a Chicago boy. I'm going to like him. Okay. But let's not make it.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Captain Morgan. Holiday like a